often think when I'm getting a moral lecture from one of, somebody in charge, which is the one thing they're really good at, is immediately seizing the moral high ground. People who have no basis for moral certainty seize the moral high ground and start lecturing you like you're a bad person. But I always think to myself, why don't you, let's just start with the basics. Why don't you make the same woman happy for 30 years and get back to me, okay? Why don't we start there? Have you done that? Have you made the same woman happy for 30 years? I don't think you're capable of that, actually. I also don't think you could change a tire, so why don't you shut up? So yeah, because all that matters are the things that really matter. And by the way, this whole system is created, and I mean the economic system, in which Joe Biden voters own 70% of the nation's wealth and the useful people own 30%. The whole system is set up to give money and prestige to useless people who in a fair society would be screwed because they can't do anything. And that's the truth. So all the things you actually need in life are provided by a really small number of people who are also the worst paid. So I'm just throwing this out there, and I don't mean any offense to the Kochs, but I actually think that we could get by a week in this country without private equity. I just think we could. I think we could survive. I think we could do that if we all banded together. Do you know what I mean? Or like the payday loan people. I think we'd probably make it without them. But we couldn't make it without like farmers, people who grow the food, or who fix the cars, or paint the houses, or plumb the bathrooms. Like, all the useful people are despised, and the totally useless people are deified. So it's like, how long could you live? If DEI consultants were eliminated tomorrow, would your kids come to you and say, Dad, I can't make it another day without a DEI consultant? Or school counselors. I don't know what to do. I don't have a school counselor. Some heavy-set, middle-aged lady pushing transgenderism on my kids. I don't know how we can exist without that. And the truth is, we'd be not only fine, but much improved. And yet they somehow have all the money and all the moral authority. And they're writing pieces in the Atlantic about how you're evil because you don't want to live next to the people who just got here illegally. Like, Sorry. Really, everything that you rejected is this incredibly sophisticated justification for the worst kind of behavior, including economic behavior, which we've been trained to ignore. But how did all the money get in the hands of the worst people? How did the people who killed Jeffrey Epstein, how did they get private planes? And the best people in the country are like so deeply in debt they can't go on vacation. Like, that's not a good system. I don't care what you call it. It's not a free market. It's a totally rigged market, a market rigged for the worst people. Huh.
And look at where the wealthiest counties are. The wealthiest counties in America, which vote for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, geographically used to be around Chicago and Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati. It used to be in the heartland. Now 8 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in America are around Washington, D.C. It's the ruling class corridor. And what do they create? Well, you guys here in Wichita, Kansas, you create real stuff here. You make real things. It's not abstraction. You guys aren't just trading derivatives and you're not just shorting stocks.
You're making airplanes. Like, I like airplanes.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes. Or you're extracting minerals from the earth, or you're growing food, or you're transporting those goods and services. You're making real stuff. And yet the center of wealth has gravitated away from production of things that you need to survive towards an upside down looting operation that we call paying taxes. And that upside down looting operation is that you are penalized for playing by the rules. You have to pay taxes that you can't afford that break your back, and also you get a tax with inflation and everything else gets more expensive. And then the parasites in DC, they take that money and they reverse launder it back, while they then are able to build an imperial capital for what? So our capital went from a place that was nice to visit and was clean and orderly to now being basically the wealth center of the country. And that is a bad, bad sign, everybody. The wealth place should be decentralized and around where entrepreneurs are, where real choices are made, where manufacturing is, not of just the managerial class. And then also look at what their values and their morals are. Around DC is the most secular, the least religious, the most hostile to your value system and your worldview, and yet they're extracting your money and they're not doing it voluntarily. And that's the kicker. For all of you here that have made money, you've made money through persuading somebody to buy your good or service. In DC, they make it by force. but with a gun. They put the gun to your head, give us money, and if not, we're gonna put you in federal prison if you don't pay your taxes. And in DC, similar to what we saw during COVID, is you fail upward. Anthony Fauci gets promoted after what he did during COVID. In a real world, Anthony Fauci should be in Gitmo for what he did during COVID. But in the world of DC, he's lauded. Peter Strzok Smirk, promoted. He has a professorship at Georgetown. Lisa Page, Lois Lerner from the IRS scandal. No one there is held accountable. And the founders never envisioned this form of government. And again, one of the reasons why Trump is so popular is that he has identified it and he has antagonized this Leviathan, this fourth branch of government. And I don't know how much more the heartland of the country can stand the abuse. And can I just talk about Springfield, Ohio, really quick? Which,
of course.
With the the Haitian cat eaters that are coming in. Which, by the way, I did not anticipate us talking about cats this much in the 2024 election. It's just really amazing.
I don't even like cats, and here I am defending them,
I'm neutral on the cat question, for the record, okay? But Springfield, Ohio is a perfect example of how the ruling class has treated the heartland of the country. Step one, we close the factories and we send them overseas so that people don't have work. Step two, we flood those communities with opioids so that they're permanently addicted and we kill a lot of them. Step three, we send their kids, their sons and daughters, to go fight no-win wars, and they come back with permanent health issues. Step four, we flood their town with foreigners after we've completely abused and broken them, and we sent their jobs overseas. Step five, the residents who are still there and have survived all this abuse notice that the foreigners are doing really weird stuff and illegal stuff, like driving ahead on traffic, killing kids, eating cats, and taking geese out of the pond. And then we call the people that are still there in Springfield racist after their factories have closed and their sons died in Iraq and they're addicted to opioids and their local schools being overrun by Haitians, but they're racist for noticing that their home is turning into Port-au-Prince. And you wonder why Donald Trump's poll numbers don't go down. You wonder why so many people wear that red MAGA hat in Springfield, Ohio, because he is the only lifeline that these people have. He is the only hope that they have, the only person that does not insult them or talk down to them and wants to lead a rebellion and, yes, a revenge campaign against the people that have done this to them and destroyed their home.
Amen. It's not only is it homicidal, which it is. The Sacklers are still billionaires, by the way. Their names are still in the buildings at Harvard. But it's insulting, and that's what I kind of can't take. I live in a very rural area. Our waterfowl season starts really soon. I got a call from a friend of mine yesterday, and it's just interesting to see people's different takes on news stories. He's not against Haitians. He doesn't know where Haiti is. But he's like, and I've shot geese my whole life, I'll just say. Plans to do it again in a few weeks. And he goes, if I shot a goose without a license, a game warden would haul me off. How do these people show up to our country, they kill the geese, they don't have to buy a license? I mean, it's a different way of thinking about it. But his takeaway was the same. And by the way, I just want to say, I don't think they're eating the geese. I think they're sacrificing them. I mean, they're coming from a country where witchcraft is the dominant religion. That's a fact. And anyone who denies it hasn't ever actually been to the country, as I have, or doesn't know anything about it. That's a fact. I don't think we should import people who practice witchcraft. I think that should be illegal. I'm sorry, it's my country. I don't want witchcraft here. Fair? Oh, shut up. I don't care what you call me. No witchcraft, because it's real. But what I notice most is the hatred that leaders have for the country. It's hatred. You watch them as they die, you don't care. You lecture them. Our senile president screamed at Americans who dared to complain about the disappearing geese today. You're racists. This is an attack on a group. No, it's not. Don't treat me with contempt. Giving people who come here illegally cell phones, housing vouchers, free plane tickets. Rural hospitals across the country are closing because the emergency rooms are overburdened by people who broke the law to get here. You can't get health care. Try to go to an emergency room right now. You can't get medical care. You pay for that. It's the most insulting thing I've ever seen. It's, by the way, not an attack on the people who came here. I would have too. I mean, I'm not mad at them, actually. I'm mad at our leaders. I've never seen any population treated the way Americans are being treated by their leaders now. And I'm very worried that at some point people will be like, I'm not putting up with this. I don't know why anybody pays taxes in this country. I'm not, for the record, I'm not counseling not pay your taxes because I don't want to get arrested. But I just don't understand the consent level in this country is still incredibly high. Maybe we're just like moving through the motions or something. All the good people are the people they lecture and call names. And because they are good people, they're dutiful people, and they just do what they think they're supposed to do. But I don't know why they're doing it. Why would you send $1 to people who laugh over your death? Your nephew dies of fentanyl and they don't care, and you're still sending them money? I don't get that, honestly.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.